Welcome to the deep dive. It's really great to have you with us today. We're digging into, well, the escalating tensions over in the Middle East. It definitely feels like a very high stakes chess game playing out right now. Our mission, really, is to cut through some of the noise and figure out what this all means, for global diplomacy, for oil markets, which are always jumpy, and for the overall balance of power there. So let's start with the trigger. Our sources are pretty clear. It was a coordinated drone attack, right?
hmm
On a U.S. logistics base in Iraq. And Washington seems to be pointing the finger directly at Iran-backed militias for that one.
That's right. And the U.S. response, it was fast. A precision strike on 3 sites down in southern Iran. These places apparently house, missile systems, command infrastructure, that kind of thing. And what's really interesting or maybe concerning is Iran's immediate reaction. Their foreign ministry didn't mince words. They called it an act of war.
An act of war? Wow. That's strong language. It suggests this could be more than just another flare-up. Some of our sources are hinting that, while the U.S. might have aimed for deterrence, hitting targets in Iran itself, that's a big step. Could it backfire? Are we closer to a wider conflict here?
That really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? The strikes themselves were, well, limited, but symbolically,
Mm.
hugely significant. Washington wanted to send a clear message, don't do that again, but without kicking off a full-blown war. The problem is, with Iran, even these calculated moves can have unpredictable results, especially if they start activating their proxies more.
Ah, the proxies. Those groups across the region they support.
Exactly. It's their way of hitting back without, direct military confrontation. So far, Iran's public response has been mostly words, condemnation at the UN, warnings. But behind the scenes, there's also been some, let's say, noticeable movement around the Strait of Hormuz.
Okay, the Strait of Hormuz. That always gets attention. It's such a critical bottleneck for oil, right? Something like 20% of the world's supply.
Precisely. A
Yeah.
huge vulnerability. And the markets, they reacted instantly, almost a gut reaction. Oil prices shot up. We
Yeah.
saw Brent crude jump almost 9% in just 24 hours.
9%. Wow.
Yeah, pushed it over $95 a barrel, highest it's been since early 2024. Stocks dipped a bit, though defense stocks naturally went up. It just underlines how sensitive that strait is.
Yeah.
The bigger worry for you listening, for everyone really, is inflation. If this tension sticks around, it means higher fuel prices, higher cost of living,
Mm.
especially for countries that rely heavily on imported energy.
Right. So potential pain at the pump and beyond for all of us. Given all that the market jitters, the harsh words, is there any way out? Is diplomacy even possible right now?
Well, maybe. In the short term, it feels like neither Washington nor Tehran actually wants an all-out war. That's something. But the danger, the real danger, is miscalculation. One militia group goes rogue, one target is misidentified, and things could spiral fast. That's why those back channels are so critical, often through places like Oman, maybe Qatar, possibly even Turkey, neutral ground.
Okay, so quiet talks behind the scenes.
Exactly. Formal negotiations seem a long way off. I mean, the 2015 nuclear deal is basically finished. Trust is rock bottom. But maybe, just maybe, some new framework could emerge. Not to solve everything, but just to manage the tension, keep things from boiling over by accident.
Managing tension rather than solving the root causes. That makes sense given the low trust levels. Okay, as we start to wrap this up, we've covered a lot of ground here, and hopefully you feel a bit clearer on this really complex picture. Before we go, what are the key things you're watching, the indicators that might tell us where this is heading next?
Yeah, there are maybe 3 things I'd keep a close eye on. Subtle signs, but important. First, what Iran does next. Specifically, do they ramp up proxy attacks or, and this is the big one, do they start targeting tankers in the Gulf directly?
Okay, Iran's actions. Got it.
Second, watch the UK's Navy.
Mm,
Any deployments, especially near Bahrain or Cyprus, it signals how they're trying to walk that tightrope, support allies, but also push for de-escalation.
interesting. UK naval movements. And the third?
Third, any whispers of secret diplomacy. If you hear about talks popping up in places like Muscat or Doha, that's usually a pretty good sign that cooler heads are trying to find a way through behind the scenes.
Right. Proxies, UK ships, and secret talks in Oman or Qatar, those are really concrete things to watch for. Thanks, that's incredibly helpful for navigating this.
My pleasure. It's a complex one.
It certainly is. And thank you for joining us for this deep dive. Our aim, as always, is to give you that shortcut to feeling well-informed to help make sense of these big global events. Until next time, stay informed and stay grounded. Goodbye for now.